What's up, good people? Listen, it's Miss Turner, your parent and family engagement liaison here, coming to switch things up just a little bit and getting back to a place that we kind of got away from, and this is Trucker Connect. Today, I got Mr. Marriner here with me. I am super excited because so many times we find ourselves going and looking here and there, trying to find a source when we have our sources right in our own backyard. So, Mr. Marriner, I just want to thank you for being here with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Certainly. And I'm super excited because today's topic, you and I were dialoguing. You know, we know that this time is not one that many of us are enjoying in some cases or that we really even want to talk about it. Right now, some of y'all probably like, here we go again.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that I believed in this time that it was an opportunity. But it's all about your perspective.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of cases, we all have gifts, we have talents, we have the ability to do things, but we found ourselves at the top of that hill with our lights being covered. What good is the light when it is supposed to shine amongst others and be able to provide a pathway for us to take and continue to sit with it covered, considering the circumstances of COVID? So today, Mr. Marriner, I had to bring you in here so we can talk. So starting off from, the beginning, what has been your perspective of this time with COVID and everything?
So back in August, my friend did a school drive. Mm-hmm. Short story to get to the point, right? Mm-hmm. My friend did a back to school drive, and when I was speaking at that drive we did at my church, I started saying that this time, being as real as it is like a dark time for us. But you can either let it be a casket or you can let it be a chrysalis. You can either go into this and die slowly by refusing to change, allowing the situation to continue to hamper you, or you could go into this and allow yourself to change, to come out better, to come out with wings and to actually be able to fly.
Right.
Shout out to the Red Bull commercial one time. So looking at these things, looking at it like that, I really just felt as though while this moment is hard and it is definitely some real stuff going on, like people losing their jobs, kids losing focus, us losing focus, just feeling like a lot of things are pointless. This is one of the best times to really go and recenter, refocus, and readjust ourselves so that we can find something new, something that we can create out of this moment. Because for most people, we're stuck at home, and being stuck at home, feeling like you got nothing to do, just watching TV, that's wasting away with your time.
Right.
And it's like we could be using the internet for literally any and everything else.
Right.
So why not use that in this moment? So there are ways that we could really just go and build out of this instead of falling into some type of mundane, negative, downward spiral,
Definitely. I love how you just said to create.
You
know what I'm saying? To take and have that moment of understanding, okay, I have this piece of paper in front of me, but being able to make a goose or a swan, you know what I'm saying? To change that perspective. And like you said, for us to take and not become slumber or allow COVID or this time of separation to define us, but allow this to develop us.
Yes.
Instead of us becoming complacent. So when you talk about create, I know, we could take a piece of paper and a marker, but what are some creative ways to create in this time?
All right, so it's the 21st century, right? So looking at a lot of things that are moving forward, I figure if you can multitask, that'll be great. So by multitasking here, I mean doing one thing that will help you in multiple places, right? So I picked up something towards the end of last year. I started programming in Python. Simultaneously, I started producing beats. So it was so two birds in one stone. It's two things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've always wanted to go into making music of my own, and I've wanted to learn more about programming and everything else. So when I learned about this thing called Ear Sketch, it literally was a perfect fit for me. So my desire manifested this thing out there, and I was able to come in contact with it and even get paid doing it. And I taught my kids how to do some stuff with it, and I got a kid right now doing some stuff with it.
Wow.
So this has been a really, really fun thing for me. But so my friend said this song sounds like it's supposed to be on 2K. I was proud of my beat. My students said that they liked it. And students are critical.
Yeah.
But or a few of them might say they like it, but a lot of them like, yo, no, that joint is fire. What's up?
Snap.
So I started making beats out here and using that programming in Python.
Mm-hmm.
You can program robots in Python. You can design all types of applications and widgets. You can make whatever you want. And that right there, that's what I meant by doing one thing that can serve you in multiple places.
Right.
By me doing that music and programming part, I got better at actually producing the beat while simultaneously learning how to program. And it was literally like both thought processes I had to do at once, or one and then the other. I had to think about what I wanted musically and then put it into the program. And like I said, it's transferable. If you get into programming, you can start making apps, widgets, all this other stuff, and people make money from that all the time. So I just looked at this as an opportunity to develop several skills that could bring me a return later.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love though how you said that you wind up taking it to your students.
Yeah.
So many times we find ourselves hoarding, like, oh snap, I learned this skill, let me keep this to myself. But in actuality, you saw that as an opportunity to pour into the next generation.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for us to understand that when it comes to our gifts and our talents, gifts are meant to be given.
Exactly.
There's nothing meant to be kept to yourself, and it's meant to be poured out. And so in this time, even being able to find strength, if you don't have the strength for yourself to say, I got to keep going because of whoever's connected to me or whoever's going to reap off of this gift is going to be bigger than just me, that your life could begin to spark back. You can get that drive and that hope again just from being able to be that lifeline for somebody else. So before we continue on, Mr. Marriner, what do you do? Like,
what do I do?
What do you do? We know you work here at Churchland,
Man.
but what is your position? Because now you're talking about music. We're going to have this competition coming up soon where we about to get the official trucker anthem. And I've been looking for like producers, but look, right in our own backyard.
That's
so
hilarious.
What do you do?
So I teach physics and principles of technology, and I also coach robotics up here. And then I fit in where I get in. I believe that it was important to help build the culture here. So when I got here, I started doing extra stuff along the way. I was a wrestling coach for 4 years. I got hurt last year, so I had to like, all right, I'm done. I gotta go ahead and step back. But so I was just trying to really just do a bunch of stuff. But for the most part, I've been focusing on the robotics, physics, and this tech class. Trying to get we're working on a modeling and simulation space down in my classroom, like essentially creating a maker space using my classroom as the hub for that. So it'll be like for the city, for the whole school district. So that's something else that I've been doing.
Let's go.
I wear a lot of hats in the building. I was working on the curriculum for physics over the summer. Still got a little bit more to finish up on that. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably could list a couple other things. They had me host the pep rallies for a minute.
Oh, right. He was that guy. Yes.
It all was fun. The kids wanted me back last year, but I was playing in the faculty game where we
Right.
ran it up on them seniors.
Let's go. Undefeated for years, right?
Yeah, we're rocking
Undefeated.
out. Whole time I've been here, haven't lost at all. The kids got to step it up, y'all.
Step it up, y'all. Next senior class, when we come back in the building, y'all better come correct.
Shots fired.
I love how you said that it wasn't one thing. You know, I think in a lot of cases we'll take and get fixated on one thing, and when it doesn't work out, it defines our whole effort or our perspective of what we're able to achieve. And I've said this before, when we were born failures. We can't walk, talk, can't read, can't do anything. But because of our determination to take and accomplish that particular thing, it has pushed us. And in students, we're going to let y'all know on an inside scoop, as kids from birth until some age, which I'm trying to figure out, you all have the answers of what we need to be successful, to accomplish things in life. But at some point in our lives, we lose that. You know, when I look at my daughter,
Adults beat it out of you, man.
Right.
That's what
I'll
happens
take that.
a lot, you know? Because I mean, where else do you get it? Almost all human behavior is learned behavior.
True.
There's some things that are like instinct to us, but for the most part, you learn based off of your interactions or your environment.
Right.
What are you seeing, or what do you learn from, like when you actually try something yourself?
Definitely.
So a lot of times parents stop asking so many questions.
Right, when they should be, you know, because then I can figure some stuff out.
And it's like now that I'm older, I understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's like as a parent, I'm about to have kids and stuff eventually.
Right.
But like having students, really made things make more sense.
Right.
Because it wasn't that long ago that I was just a student.
Right.
So then it was like, so then 2 years after graduating college, now I'm a teacher, and I'm like,
Right.
yo, I understand, y'all.
Right.
Right.
Sit down, be quiet, do what I told you to do.
Oh my God. It is like, I just want to think for a second, and y'all keep calling my name.
Right.
If one more person say Mr. Marriner.
Mr. Marriner. Sorry, just get.
It was just, so like having those moments, I understand what parents end up going through, but that hurts the kid.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
definitely does.
Because those are things that stamp out the curiosity, and really thinking about like this whole creativity piece that I kind of set out with today. That is what leads to that hampering of your creativity, that ingenuity. You get rejected in different places by people you cared about.
Yeah.
This isn't everybody's story, but what happens a lot that I've seen, it happens to me and I've seen it to other folk. You get that rejection, and that you're like, oh well, stop asking me this. No, it's not that good. You feel like you failed, so then you stop trying at some point. And that really like is the beginning of a dark time.
Yeah.
You don't even know it. Like,
Right.
man, just thinking back on my life, there were definitely periods. So like I write poetry, right? So that's something else I've been doing for a long time. Elementary school started, but then really 15 started going in. But like at some point I stopped, and I know during that time when I wasn't doing anything, that was when I was going through it the worst. That was when I was like really experiencing the height of my depression, where it wasn't like I was suicidal. I just had no desire to still be here.
Right.
It won't like so there was just a mix of like crazy feelings at that time, because it was like I felt like I was weak from not having the strength to do something about how I was feeling, to like not actually commit suicide, which I mean I'm very glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But like in that moment it was just like you ain't got the strength to do it, you ain't got the strength to get better. What's even, and so I just didn't even want to like be anymore. So I'm glad that I had certain people around me that didn't allow me to stay there, but for so long. And I started to create, and that was why I said what I said earlier. Like the dark times that we end up going through are meant for us to create something. And I think this takes me back to this other conversation when you were wearing that shirt. Like, this shirt is black.
Oh yeah.
It was like that. There's this view of black, right? That black stuff is always connected to, a lot of times connected to things that are bad, negative, evil, sinister.
Yeah.
You get all of that, right? And it's like, well, why?
Right.
And that's not really the case. Like, and then I told you, it's like, yo, our world runs off of oil. Oil is black. Like that black oil, that's that pure stuff. That's what you get. That really creates the best fuel. Or we talk about coal, or we talk about the richest of soils. Like those are black. Things grow. Things come from that. And like looking at that analogy, especially since I've been out here gardening, when you have that darkness right there that you're working with, you can use that to create life.
Right.
And then there's light coming out of that. There's like literal life, like food, goals, dreams, aspirations, all being made real.
Right.
That can come out of that dark time, but I mean, it just depends on how you use it. Now I know I was just like going in.
Nah, it was definitely good stuff, because from all of that I got, darkness shows the need for the light, for the creativity or the change. What good is it to live in a world where you're just happy 24/7?
You don't appreciate it.
Where's the purpose? What assignment that I've been created for? Where do I see my place? But when you see the darkness, it's the reminder that we, one, need to constantly be working.
Yeah.
That our light constantly needs to be shining. And that, two, is bigger than just us.
Right.
Because when we see that darkness on the level of ourselves, we could only imagine. Because I've been here going on 2 years now. This is the first time I've heard a glimpse of your testimony. But we're still connected.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, what if I didn't choose the light? What if you didn't choose to create? What if I didn't choose to create? Would we even be here for whoever needs to hear this message today?
Definitely wouldn't be who I am in these moments. And that joint, like, it's kind of, it really hurts. I made me want to just cry one time.
Yo, it gets emotional.
Nah, but like, it really, it can hurt at times, because it's like, you know that all that stuff that you went through, as much as it hurt, ended up being worth it.
Yeah.
So then you feel confused because it's like I'm grateful for
Right.
pain that people cause me.
Right.
Kind of sadist am I right now?
Right.
But it's like I don't know. It's a lot that goes into it that you at times just really got to make your peace with, especially trying to use that darkness in order to grow from it.
Yeah, and to keep that drive and motivation, like in all things, look for the good. You know, it seems twisted, you know, because of especially people that are so used to being negative or being hurt.
Yeah.
And so now for me to take and see, once again, we had this talk. When you plant seeds, anytime you are detained, you all are detained right now, entertained by our conversations, but that means to be detained by something enters you. It makes me think of planting. And so when it comes to planting, people think the beauty or the manifestation is when that plant or that tree breaks the surface and you see the growth. But the most work has happened in the darkness, underneath the surface, and it can be good or bad.
If the roots got to take hold, man. You get a sprout, but that sprout will not continue to grow if the roots have not taken hold.
Right.
And that all happens in the darkness. You don't never know what's going on.
Never. Not like you can say, okay, let me move this root over here.
Yeah.
Nah, it's stuff that's developing, and I say that it's good and or bad because in the detainment time, what are you allowing yourself to be exposed to?
Yeah.
Because what's becoming rooted? You've been trying to fight your depression, but you keep listening to, certain music that's driving you further and watering it.
Watching the same terrible news over and over again. I don't need to see another video of any of us out here getting shot, killed, none of that by anybody. Because I know that it's still happening. And another instance is not changing what I know we got to do right now.
Right.
There's change that has to happen, but I don't need to keep inundating myself with that trauma right there because it just keeps the loop going.
Definitely.
And you started saying something that made me think about this, like that cycle of trauma that people do not find themselves stuck in.
Yeah.
And it's like it just continues because you don't even know that it exists. You're not really paying attention to it. So then like something triggers you because after whatever has happened in life, your trigger comes up. So now you respond and then you don't really deal with it. You just lashed out or you regressed, whatever your trigger response is.
Yeah.
And then it starts all over again. You find your coping mechanism, you wait for things to be a little bit better, and then you try to move on, and then something triggers you and it starts all over. But like, we gotta deal with some of these things that happen in the dark,
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's it's so many analogies to come out of that right now.
I know, right?
Kind of just like keep it back and speak plainly. We got to deal with the pain that comes up, or else you won't really be able to move forward.
Yeah, and being able to create in the midst. Because when we hear the word create, we may think it's fun. We may think it's, like I said, drawing the picture or creating the balloon animal. No, create means to take and think outside of the box and to be able to go beyond what's right in front of you, to make something be brought to life. Yes. Making the vision plain. You write the vision, you make it plain so that you're able to see it. And so in that creative way, it's like saying, maybe I need to start jotting down some of the struggles that I'm having. Yeah. Let me get creative because me holding it inside and keeping it harbored has not been beneficial. Let me get creative by dumping it.
Right.
Or let me get creative by me actually going to counseling because I done tried to talk to myself. I got everybody else in my ear that really are fueling and watering the negativity that I need to replace it with somebody that's not even directly attached to me. Yeah. Let me be creative by saying I need help.
Let me take a different approach. And that right there is hard. People don't like to admit that they need help because it means that you know that you're weak and you don't want to seem weak in front of anybody.
Right.
It's like a lot of our culture is built up around, don't be no punk
type
of mentality.
Right.
And all of these different ways that you can say it. But
definitely.
That really seeps down into your subconscious, and we don't think about that all the time. But the things planted in your subconscious mind, when nourished with repetition and emotion, will come to life. It's a Earl Nightingale, I'm paraphrasing, but it will come to life for you out here. So the things if you keep saying that same old stuff over and over and over again, it'll never change.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That trauma response. So that create, trying to get to the counseling, trying to just get some catharsis was the word I wanted to throw in there, right? Just some of these psychology terms.
Where the dictionary is. I'm gonna go find the dictionary.
Catharsis is an emotional release.
Oh.
Catharsis is
why you ain't say that? Emotional release. There we go.
I did say that. I said catharsis.
Right. Good. Okay, I'll work on that.
But it's that emotional release, right, where we can actually find a way and it not be destructive, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Right.
we can actually let out what is really going on. And I mean, you want to have that moment of catharsis, or else you might have like a breakdown, a meltdown. So you really have steps towards it. You can go and you can wait until you're having a breakdown, until you just can't take it no more, you flip out, you no longer care, and you act out of extreme rage or some other like extreme emotion. Or you can have those moments of catharsis, those moments of emotional release, and you actually let stuff out. And that's another reason why I like this word to create so much, like, because when you go and you make something, art, whatever form it may be, whether it is visual art, music art, whether it's dance, whether it's you so many different things that exist, right?
Definitely.
I mean, so but whatever your art form is, to go and take that time with that is a form of emotional release, and it will help you feel better, especially with everything that's going on. And earlier, like I'm on point here. I talked about multitasking, doing something that will serve you in more than one place.
Definitely.
You have the benefit of getting better at your art form, and you also have the psychological benefit of feeling better. I have that release. I got this off my chest.
Oh yeah.
And that right there does wonders for your world, because it can readjust your whole thought patterns, the entire way that you're vibrating out here, and then you move different, you think different, and then people around you respond in kind.
I mean, definitely. Those are all good points, and I think for us to just understand, even if your create has to be just doing life, you know what I'm saying? Like, because some people are looking at this, look, I don't do music, I can't play instrument, I don't do art. And when you look at, people that have really staple in the world, like Jean-Michel Basquiat, like, I used to wonder, like, dang, why does all of his art forms have skulls? And my daughter was in class, and it was basically saying he had got in a car accident. And so he was given a book so that he can make sense of everything that was going on. So it was like, I guess, a skeletal a picture or something. So that's why all of his art, because he wound up making peace with a tragic situation. And even with his mother drifting off mentally and being in an unhealthy space, like, here's a kid that car accident and then is watching his mother slowly drift away and all this kind of stuff, that this dude art is worth millions now, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so finding a place that to make sense, or to begin to at least try to understand, what that pain could be, to identify, be truthful with it. I think we need to start masking it. When we think of sometimes people creating, you think about the makeup, let me cover it up because I don't want to deal with it. We're not encouraging you to do that. We want you to take and understand the importance of identifying, and then being able to take what you've identified and being able to create sense, or to create life in a dead situation, because we don't have to stay there.
We don't. So much with that right there. We don't have to stay in a place, but that takes the willingness to accept responsibility, accountability for your actions and for your own life.
Right.
And this is something that is hard.
Yeah.
Because that means that you got to understand, you come into the understanding that what I have dealt with, I helped create that situation. And there are limits on that. Like, there are things outside of our control, right? Like, you don't know that somebody from out of town is coming in and that's the person that got in a car accident with you. But we create we create our situations, we create our lives, and we can take accountability for that. Our actions lead us to wherever it is that we are, and if you don't own that, then it'll just be a whirlwind, and you'll just
definitely
be swung around.
And then even understanding how our actions don't just affect us, because you can have a child that didn't even have you know what I'm saying? And so understanding that accountability, not just to ourselves, but those who are connected to us. And I'll never forget that this definition of forgiveness, I was in counseling, and so the young lady had used the definition of forgiveness as not just saying, I'm going to forget about it, I'm going to act like it never existed. She said, no, it's making peace with what happened, but making that decision that you will never give a person that power to do it to you again.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So when she said that, I was like, whew.
So that's why I do not stand by that saying forgive and forget, because if you forget, you ain't learned a single thing.
You can repeat the pattern because it's like, oh shucks, I forgot that I did that.
And
you know,
you missed the entire point.
Yeah.
You forgave them just to end up back in that situation where they could do you dirty again.
Right.
Instead of taking accountability for it and be like, all right, I know that this happened, and I didn't know that you were gonna do that the first time, but now that I see, I'm not gonna let you do me like that again.
That ain't about to happen again.
So talking about creating out of a dark space, it doesn't just have to be some art form, some glorified art form. It could also be creating ourselves anew, where we go ahead and allow ourselves to move into the person that we want to become, to move into our best selves, as it may be.
You just nailed on the head right there. Like, if you think about it, we are original design, one of a kind. I don't care how much Beyonce you watch, how many squats you do.
Bars out here.
Like, I know, watch that spit, get the beat going. It does not matter. Like, they can mass produce cars. People are losing their lives trying to have this materialistic stuff that can be mass produced, and we are one of a kind.
Right.
What better way to begin to make the best version of yourself? This is the only life that we got. One take. And so with that being said, to take and be in a position where you're at the healthiest, best version of yourself, where you actually get to live life and you're not just existing, but you're finally living, where you begin to just pour into everybody that's connected to you. Because the crazy thing is, you got people that continue to stay in the darkness, that brings darkness to other people. And for me, it's always been like, yo, I know what the darkness feels like. I care too much about you to hand that to you. And so to just get to that place to say, yo, I'm going to be the best version of me, because nobody else is ever going to be able to do that. But it starts with perspective, self-worth, and understanding that you deserve to live. Like, in closing, as we prepare to wrap it up, like, you only have this one life. The assignment of your life is not for you to be miserable, to be unhappy. But could it be that you survived to save somebody else that wouldn't be strong enough? So, Mr. Marriner, in closing, what do you have to say to our trucker family?
I want to just say to you all that right now, I know that everything is kind of crazy and it is in no way ideal, but we have to learn to adapt. It is the strongest power that we as humans have, our ability to change and adapt to new situations. So don't allow the time to break you. Break through this time. Break into something different. Change. Don't allow this dark time to be a casket for you, to enclose you. Allow this dark time to be your chrysalis. Allow this to transform you. Revolutionize your mind, your body, your spirit, and come out of this in a better way than you went into it. You have that ability. You have that choice. The only thing is that you got to take it. So I encourage y'all to take that option for yourselves.
Make that choice every day. Man, I thank you so much. Listen, this is Trucker Connect. This is real. We are talking about the stuff nobody else is, because we understand. We can keep sugarcoating. We can keep cutting down those branches thinking that we can get rid of the stuff. But the truth is, until we deal with the root, and sometimes that root is that darkness. Sometimes that root is being transparent. Until we deal with that as the student body, as the staff, as the trucker family, we will not be able to go to the place of growth where we're designed to go. So I thank you for your transparency on today and being here. As always, grace and peace.